Good morning. Good morning. Let's go straight into TRVL. So it looks like this correction is kind of playing out quite similar to what I was imagining yesterday. Let me just pull up that. So this weekly level is, again, that's a higher time frame level. So it is kind of the price is consolidating in and around it. So that's quite good actually, because it's kind of being washed, isn't it? It's kind of washing that level. It's still reacting, but as the price consolidates in and around that level, it's becoming less and less pertinent, less and less relevant, and we're not getting exact reaction, we're not getting exact respect on it. So it's becoming less and less relevant, basically. Let me have a look at the volume here. This is the combined chart. Yeah, I don't know why, but my 1 hour time frame value area is showing up differently to my 30-minute time. Usually it just means because there's more volume in the last candle, but there's something off here. I can't understand why. This is on the lower time frame. You can see the point of control is still in the lows. Slightly higher time frame, 1 hour time frame. For some reason, it's giving me more volume up there. Okay, so I don't know, make of it what you want. Let me just go slightly even higher and see what. So let me see, the higher time frames is actually showing the value area slightly higher with the point of control in the highs. You see actually what happened is it came up to that level, reaction, back down again. So these volume levels are definitely having an impact on the way the price moves. And guess what, we're coming into a nice juicy volume level here, which on a 30-minute time frame is the point of control. Okay, so this is a combination of all the four major centralized exchanges, KuCoinGate, IO, MEXC, and Bybit. So we can see that this volume should be quite relevant. In this context, I would like to see this lower area hold as support, and I would like to see us put in maybe another daily level here tomorrow, if we can get a green candle off this lower level here. And it kind of looks like we are flagging with a wide range. The range is quite wide. It's from the low here to the top there. It's about 22%, and yeah, 16%. Could it go lower? Yeah, of course it could definitely go lower. And that's, you always have to consider the possibilities of the price going lower. It would be like that if it wanted to go lower. If there wasn't enough demand and the price continued, if there wasn't enough demand here, the price could totally do that. And you kind of want it to get right back up as quickly as possible. You want to see a reaction. Ideally, you want to see that there's enough demand with lower prices to push the price up. And obviously, one thing you don't want to happen is you don't want to go lower and then flip the 5.5 back into resistance. It's definitely not what we want to see. Okay, but also you could be just what I was suggesting, which was possibly just kind of some kind of flagish pattern here, some kind of triangle. And as long as we can keep on holding these volume levels down here, then maybe we can actually kind of put in enough volume here to go up. That's kind of what I'm imagining. It makes sense because I'm expecting more waves. I'm not expecting this move to be over. And I've drawn out the Elliott waves on my other chart. I think it's on my Bybit chart. Let me have a look on the volume on Bybit. There's quite a lot of volume there, and then we've kind of given back all of that. Price increase. Just do it from this one here. Yeah, see, by bit, point of control is actually in the lower part of this range. That's about 5.7 cents. You'd expect that to hold the support at the very least in the lower time frames, even for a bounce. And where is my Elliott waves? Didn't I group it? Can I do it like this? Have a look. 5 ABC. I think of this next wave. So we had our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. That's your wave 1. We had our ABC correction. That's your wave 2. This is the wave 3. Yeah. I think that's just the wave 1 of the 3 of this higher time frame 3. I don't think that's the 3 in itself. Yeah. Otherwise, you're looking at something like this: a smaller 3 and a smaller 5. That would be, if that would be your 1. It would be very different if that was what was happening. It could happen. It is possible. It is possible that we have a really petty 5 now, and then actually what you're looking at is more like something like this in the blue, in this dark blue color. But actually, I'm not imagining that right now. I just think the wave 3s should be more bullish and more prolonged than the most bullish waves. And we are in the wave 3 of 3 on the higher time frame, because I've kind of contemplated this first move beginning in October last year as some kind of wave 1, which took us to 12 cents all the way back down to 2 cents, and now we're in the kind of the higher time frame wave 3. I'm kind of targeting about 36 or 40 cents or thereabouts with this wave, but I mean, no one really knows what's going to happen, and it could go much higher. Who knows? It all depends on Bitcoin, really. But here I'm kind of imagining that this was our kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was our 1. We had an ABC flat correction here for our 2, and this is just the wave 1, and we have another 2 more impulses in this wave 3 to go, and then we have kind of a 4 higher time frame 4 correction, and then whatever 5, a kind of a finish off with a 5. That's kind of what I'm imagining. I don't really know how far these can go at the moment. I'd like to see what this next wave does and how far we get. I imagine this next wave should be one of the most impulsive moves, because it is the 3 of 3 of 3. Yeah, that was the 1, 2. This is the 3. This whole thing's a 3, and we are in the 3. This really should be a really impulsive move, and that will be a gauge, wouldn't it? It'll be a gauge to see what we're expecting, or what we can possibly expect. I would like to see this kind of this move take all these highs, to be honest with you. I'd like to see us go all the way up to 17 cents and put a high here. That's what I really want to see. Yeah, and if it doesn't, then we have to reevaluate. Okay. But I don't see why not, because we're getting quite bullish impulsive moves when it's impulsive, and then the corrections are, relatively speaking, they're very flat. When you're comparing it to last year, you can see we're much more bullish. We're already above kind of, look how long it took us. It took us from October to where we are now, to March. It took us October, November, December, January, February, March. It took us 5 months just to get from here, from thereabouts 2 cents to where we are now. It took us about five months. Yeah. And when we put in this pivot low here, look, this pivot low is put in the beginning of September, and now we're towards the end of November. So September, October, November. It's only 2 months. We're going to go into December, which will be our 3rd month. So in 2 months, we've increased in value the same amount of value that we've increased in 5 months in the previous wave. And you can see it's much more impulsive now than before. All right. So potentially we're going to go another 5 months, all the way to March or April. Yeah. When it tops out. And I wanted to talk about that just briefly, because If you remember, I've been looking at the fib time in depth, and let me go to my other chart because I think it's nicely done there. Is this the one? Nope. Extension, that's set fib time. Let me get rid of these. All right. And if you remember, I was talking about this higher time frame fib time, which has been on time quite accurately, actually. When the token first launched in November 21, all the way down to this kind of this first low, and then before the first pump, we put in a pivot, and then all the way down on the 618 on fib time, we put in the all-time low. The price moved up until it reached this kind of high thereabouts on fib time. It kind of these fib times are areas of time. They're not exact dates. They give you an area, so you can see we put in a high there. We actually came back up to take it before it dropped, but in effect you can see that this was it was a major time pivot was put here on fib time. And actually when it was coming down, you can see I called it actually back in at the beginning of August or at the end of July on my X account. I actually printed out this fib time and I showed you that there was going to be a major pivot, a major time pivot was going to be put in somewhere at the end of August. There was a pivot put in. It actually came down to take it, but this whole thing you could argue was a time pivot. Yeah, the whole thing, just like this whole thing is a time pivot here, isn't it? It's a time pivot. Now what's interesting is we are coming into another major fib time here. Yeah, now this fib time is a combination of two pivots, two types of pivots. Well, the original one, so it's landing on the 1.618, and also a new one which I'm taking, basically I've taken from this one. Where have I taken it from? Let me redraw it just briefly because it was just this local one here. I'll just draw it again quickly. Use the weekly time frame. One fib time, I prefer higher time frames, to be honest with you, because you get the actual pivots clearly marked. So from there to there, or arguably could you take it from what have I done? I've deleted the wrong one, haven't I? Let me just go back because I deleted the wrong one. Let me go to the weekly and you can see it clearly. So the first one, you can see the dots. It's from here to here to here. That's this one. So let me hide. Let me just hide this one for a second. So this is this fib time. You can see we're coming into the 1-to-1. I've got them the same color, so they actually confuse me. Let me just go to my... Right, that'd be better. I can have a look at this now. Right. So we have two fib times now. This one and this one. Right, and you see the dots. So you can see this one is from here to the low to the high, and then you have the 618 coming in roughly there, and then you have this kind of 1-to-1. It's a 1-to-1 to there. And then you have this other one, which is the original one that I had, which was from the launch to this low to this high. That gave us here, that gave us that pivot, and now we're coming into another fib time. Now, what does this fib time mean? Because we're coming into quite an important area, and they kind of correspond, don't they? Look, you've got 1.618 and a 1-to-1 of these pivots. Generally speaking, with fib time, if you have confluence, they give extra value to the confluence. They give extra confluence, extra confirmation, right? But in this context, we're actually not coming into resistance. We've actually broken resistance, and we're coming on. We're pulling back into support, aren't we? So I think if we were coming into resistance and finding resistance on fib time, then I would consider that fib time as putting in a major pivot to the upside to go down. Okay, but what's actually happening here is slightly different. We've broken that support, that major support, and we're actually coming back down to back test that support on a higher time frame on fib time, aren't we? So I would argue that actually we're putting in a higher low here on fib time, just because we're coming to back test this support, this major SR flip. We're coming to back test it on fib time. Yeah, that's what it looks like to me right now. It doesn't look the opposite. It doesn't look like maybe here where we're actually coming into resistance on fib time, does it? And it doesn't look like this one where we were actually coming into support on fib time. Yeah, this one here looks like we've broken before fib time, and now we're just coming for a back test on fib time. That's what it looks like to me. Correct me if someone sees something different. And so based on my kind of idea of fib time, or what I imagine fib time to represent, is that when you have kind of a little bit of time confluence with a major support or resistance level, then it gives that extra power, extra value to that level, and the price action that corresponds with that period of time. And so right now we're testing support, aren't we? It looks like we're testing support. This is a support test, what we're experiencing here. We've had a clean break. We've had a 1 week of consolidation above support. We're testing. We're having another week of consolidation, and we're coming into fib time testing support. That's the context. So I would argue actually that this is probably going to be a major support pivot. We're going to put a major support pivot here. And if you can imagine what's happening right now is that we're coming into a major fib time, which corresponds to multiple time pivots, which I've already marked out for you. It's this one to here, and then it's also this one to this one to this one, and they kind of correspond at the same time period, basically in the next couple of weeks. So it's a really major time pivot that we're putting in here for support, I think. And the context of us being in a wave 3 of a wave 3 of a wave 3. It's powerful, isn't it? It's quite powerful that we're coming to wave 3 of wave 3 of wave 3 after we've broken a major fib level, and we're coming back to test it on a major fib time, which is actually corresponds with another major fib time. So there's a bit of confluence of time here. Yeah, you can't really make this shit up, can you? It's crazy. It's crazy that this is actually doing that. So what does that mean? I don't know. We'll see. Actually, we'll look back in a few months' time, and we'll kind of go, "Oh wow, wasn't that amazing?" You know, or didn't the mid just fuck up and mess up? But I'm actually imagining the former, not the latter. I wonder if we do kind of then after this have a massive explosion. I'm wondering. And so initially, obviously, I've got these kind of lower targets, whether they're 17.5, which will be the 50% mark of this range. I think the next time we go up to attack 10 cents, I don't really imagine that it's going to hold this time, because we've come up to it often. We've come to once, twice, 3 times. I don't really think the 4th time is going to hold. Okay, usually the 4th time doesn't hold. Yeah, you can only attack a level so many times before it offers enough resistance for it to hold. Yeah, and the fact that we've come down and we've put in a higher low, we haven't come down to put in a lower low. Yeah, we've come to put that kind of, in my mind, I'm thinking because we put in a higher low, then this one really shouldn't hold as resistance, because we're not really going lower. Yeah, we're going higher. because we've come all the way down from this level and we haven't managed to take the low. We haven't managed to go lower. So that tells me the price actually wants to go higher. It doesn't want to go lower anymore. Yeah. If it wants to go lower, then after the second reaction, the third reaction, we should have gone lower. If we were going to go lower, we should have gone lower. We weren't going to go lower because we didn't go lower. So it tells me the price actually wants to go up. It's wanting to go up higher. Okay. And the fact that we're coming here on fib time to back test a major support level after a break, to me it suggests that this is a really key moment, especially in the context of wave 3, wave 3, wave 3, triple wave 3s. We're in the wave 3. We've done the wave 1, wave 2. This is the wave 3, and it's the wave 3. Right. Obviously on the higher time frame, the whole thing is a 1, but that's by the by. So I do imagine that we're going to have a really explosive move. I am wondering if we can go straight up to the golden pocket, to be honest with you. I don't see why not. I want to see. I don't really see why we don't go. It's not that much higher. It's only about 500%. In the context of crypto, it's not that much. And that would take TRVL, Dtravel's market cap to 100 million. I think that makes perfect sense to me if altcoins have all bottomed out and we're bottoming. This is our bottom now. So this would be our bottom because ETH is bottoming out against BTC. And a lot of altcoins have bottomed out or are bottoming out against BTC. And what that suggests to me, because we're coming on to doing this on fib time as well, is that this is now becoming our bottom. This whole thing is our bottom now. Okay. This whole structure that we've created over the last few years has now become our bottom structure. And when you correspond that with volume, yeah, it makes perfect sense. Yeah. So let me just get rid of the fib time now. Get rid of these brush strokes. Try rid of this one. This fib retracement. Look, this is our volume. And you can see that look, the previous, I don't know when I drew this volume, but there's a previous range point of control. This whole value area is being flipped basically into on this is kind of a combined value area, and I'll show you on some other charts what I mean, because it will give you a little bit more context. This is a combined value area, but if I now go to, let's say, a different exchange, let's say for example I go to MEXC, okay, you can see the value area. We've actually broken the top of the value area and we're kind of coming back to test in some manner. This is like a back test. It's slightly above because of the 5.5 level, which is more important. We're coming to back test this value area. Effectively what's happening is we're just flipping this whole value area into support. The other exchanges kind of support that theory as well. This is Gate. Gate is slightly different. The reason why Gate is different is because there was a lot of volume put in the initial drop here, which only on Gate, not on the other exchanges. So that's why Gate is slightly different. Gate slightly skews the results. This is KuCoin. You see KuCoin, we're actually doing something similar. We're trying to flip this area slightly. Again, it's slightly skewed for reasons that I can't explain. And then when you look at Bybit, the value area of Bybit, you can see it's much lower. So we have this kind of combined value area, which is printing much, much lower. And then we're kind of trying to flip this whole kind of area into support. I mean, I do imagine in the future that potentially, I don't know, I mean, no one really can predict the future. I do imagine in the future that maybe we won't come back to these levels. Yeah, maybe we won't. No one can predict the future, but I think if this token is going up to at the very least, I'm thinking 500 million market cap, that will take us to the all-time high, $1.56. Really, that's my target. Even though, like, I think there's some areas where people could take profit and buy back lower. I don't really imagine if you go up to $500 million market cap on a token like this, that we're ever going to see 20 million again. Yeah. And the reason why is because at 500 million market cap, it'll be too easy for people who are invested in at the lows to take profit. And it'll be too easy for them to defend 20 million market cap if the price ever got down again. It'll be too easy. Yeah. So if we do end up going up to all-time highs and enough people do take profit, they will. Of course they will. Yeah. Because we're not, you know, because that makes sense. If you've accumulated these lows, of course you're going to take profit of the all-time highs. And then if in the future market, the bear market, if we do go down, I don't really see us coming back down to these levels, just because there'll be a significant defense of these lows in terms of value. Yeah, so at 500 million, let's say, it wouldn't be hard for a group of people who've invested in the lows to extract 20 million value minimum. And so right now, when you're ranging at a 20 million market cap, for those people to put that value back in to defend these lows, it'd be practically impossible in that. If we do go up to the all-time high to come back down to these levels, it'd be practically impossible. Okay. And if you combine that with the growth of the network, and something you have to understand about Dtravel, TRVL, these kind of real world asset classes, they have resilience in bear markets. So I wouldn't be surprised if in the bear market we don't have significant pullback as much as some other shit tokens like meme tokens. Like I'm expecting my meme tokens to go to zero, all of them. Yeah, even Slurp. Even though I'm bullish on Slurp, I'm expecting it to go down to zero. But I'm not expecting this to go down to zero because you have a business that's growing at the same time, which is bringing in real world value, and that business is on a growth of price discovery right now, because we're at the beginning of the network growth. Yeah, we're at the beginning, and that can only get faster. It can't get slower. It can only get faster, because we're approaching 4,000 properties, and Airbnb has about 5 million or 5.5 million properties on their network. Yeah, and so what we're trying to do, we will do it, is we're taking market share away from Airbnb. Okay, so I'm really optimistic about the future here. And then, as you can see, I hope I've explained it clear enough. We're trying to backtest this major support level on fib time. Let's see what happens. Huh? I'm just as curious as everyone is, but look, it's quite interesting, isn't it? It's quite interesting. All right, I hope that kind of gives people an insight into TRVL, and I think if you haven't positioned in, then now is a good opportunity to do so. And I don't think it's good to wait much longer if you haven't. All right, any questions on that? Probably not. Hi.